Let's say hello to Jim in Memphis. Hey, Jim, what's going on?
Hey, Eddie, got a question for you about Apple Music. Do you and Ed know the date when that's actually shutting down? I have some credit on my Apple Music on my app from my phone I want to use before it shuts down. I just didn't know if you guys knew a date. And then the second question I have, I want to know if you guys can tell me this. I know you like to take your CDs and I think put into this. Is that going to be affected by us doing that? Because I do the same thing.
Great questions, Jim. There's been a lot made about the whole thing, Apple discontinuing iTunes, but I was reading a news post by Bob Lefsetz, who actually does a weekly show here on this channel on Volume, and Bob's biggest claim to fame is he puts out a industry letter that anybody can subscribe to just at random times throughout the week. And he posted that there's really not going to be any difference, or at least in his breakdown and his evaluation of the whole thing that's going on with Apple, who had a big event that introduced new software and new operating systems and all that, that it's not really going to be anything different except for everything's just going to be broken out individually. I don't really fully understand it. I'm hoping it doesn't impact my iTunes and the way I do things, but I don't fully know. Ed, do you know anything on this?
Hang on, I'm trying to call. Pass.
It's trying to call Sebastian. What, we don't have a phone screener today?
Hey, no, we're double duty.
Oh, wait, he just texted call now, so we should be okay.
Dylan, give him a call.
Okay, so Jim, I'm not sure how that's all going to work. I would use your money up if you have credit, but you may still be able to use it in other areas, and I hope that, yes, the program still exists if you want to rip CDs in and that sort of stuff. But I don't really have all the answers on that yet. But there's no way, and from what I understand in the reading that I've done, they're not going to leave you holding the bag. They will have there will be a way for your music to still stay there. Stuff you've bought in the past should still be on there. And hopefully the program to be able to do the CDs will still be there as well.
Okay, I thought Ed might check into that for us. I thought he might have actually known. So that's one. He knows some of this stuff, and I thought he might. But
well, you know what it
is. What?
No, I just wanted to.
Hey, Jim, go ahead, Ed, real quick, because we got Sebastian now.
The problem is iTunes became a bloated mess. So really, what Apple is doing is they're breaking it down into several different components, whether it be for music, for movies, and whatnot. So a lot of what you were doing before, you can still do in some capacity. I don't have all the details, but they're kind of also trying to gear more towards streaming. But the iTunes store is not going to be shut down completely. But the iTunes as it was known is coming to an end.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Jim. We'll figure it out as we go, I'm sure. But I understand people with a concern that if they paid for stuff on iTunes and Apple's saying we're taking iTunes away, they want to make sure that stuff doesn't disappear and that the program still exists, that they can take their CDs and rip them or whatever they want to do. I haven't heard or read that much about it yet. I don't even know when it takes effect. I'm assuming it would take effect when you do a software update, but I'm really not sure. So I'd be the last guy to be an expert on that. But
with a lot of things,
we'll do a little more research and let you know.
Just don't update. You can leave the program on your computer.
Yeah. All right, good. All right, we got Sebastian, so let's get to him right now. Joining us live on this Thursday is Sebastian Bach. Were you sleeping, man? What happened?
Eddie, yeah, I'm kind of getting ready for my tour, so I'm getting my circadian rhythm in order. The challenge,
dude, I get it. I'm nocturnal too, man. I get it. Trust me, I get it.
I fall asleep at the weirdest times, but anyways, I'm up and I'm ready to talk to you, Eddie, about a bunch of things actually that we need to get to here. So.
All right. Well, I know that you said that you had a major announcement in addition to all your other announcements about the tour. Do we want to do that right up front or what?
Well, let's talk about the tour first, and then I'll get to that. And there's a couple other points that I'd like to discuss with you. Okay. So the tour, as I said before, I don't know how many people remember this, but you were on with me. I don't know. You've been on with me a ton of times, but about a year ago, and I remember you distinctly saying that next year is the 30th anniversary of the first Skid Row record, which I couldn't believe, but of course it is. And you were like, if we're not going to do anything together as a band, and they're not going to play the record and celebrate it with me, I'm going to go do it with my own band. I remember you saying that.
And that's exactly what you're doing.
Well, this isn't, anything to do with the band Skid Row. It's a celebration of the album, which is titled Skid Row. If it was titled Blizzard of Oz, it would be the Blizzard of Oz 30. Unfortunately, for those guys, the name of the record is Skid Row. So I'm not trying to, fool the public that we're getting reunited. If there ever is a reunion of Skid Row down the line, that would be a whole nother thing. If we were to do this in its entirety, I have a whole house full of archives of that band that are just sitting in a box, many boxes, that someday, if that were to happen, that would be another kind of celebration of the five guys. Not the burger chain, the band, Skid Row. but this record is near and dear to everyone's heart the world over, and I'm finding this out by announcing this tour. It's just crazy. It's the people are freaking out. I would like to say right here, right now, that any original member of Skid Row, there's 5 people in the world that can say that. We all know who the 5 guys are that made that record. I have an open invitation out to any of those guys if they would like to get on stage and jam. I don't foresee that happening, but I'm throwing it out there. It's the bottom line is you only get so many 30 yearses. It doesn't roll around too often, like a 30-year anniversary. So would I like to celebrate it with the original members? Yes, I would. Of course I would. But who knows if I'm going to get hit by a truck tomorrow. So we're kind of like getting older now. So you can either shit or get off the pot. I think the saying goes. So I'm celebrating this album release. It's the first album that I ever put out in my life. And one thing that I've said in interviews that I've never read in the interview, which is a fact, and maybe some of your fact checkers there can check this, about around the year 2000, my buddy Jason Flom, who signed Skid Row, and Greta Van Fleet, by the way, he told me at that time in 2000 that the first Skid Row record was number 4 or 5 in the top 10 selling records in Atlantic Records history. And this was a fact. This was AC/DC Back in Black, I believe, is number 1. Led Zeppelin 2 is number 2. Foreigner 4 is number 3. But Skid Row number 1 is either 5 or 4 or 6. I don't know if that is true today. But when you have a record that has sold that many copies, and it's the 30th anniversary, of course the record company is going to upload a file in celebration for us all to download. And back in January, to celebrate,
so ridiculous.
To celebrate the top 10 release of Atlantic Records history, a file was uploaded. And this celebratory file is something that we can all download. We can look at the bar going across, and then at the end of the bar, we can go, oh my God, I've been waiting 30 years for this file. Oh, I can remember the first time I got this record with the liner notes, the lyrics. You're not going to get that in the deluxe version, folks.
Baz, I got to tell you, man, you know I'm on the same page as you with that because it made me crazy, too. And I went off about it yesterday on the air before promoting you coming on. I was like, I cannot believe that we're talking about that Rhino, who does such great work and has the Atlantic catalog, has not done CD, vinyl, cassette, every configuration. But you know what, man? And I don't know if this will happen, but the fact that you're doing this tour and celebrating this record, maybe you're doing over 2 months. We'll get into the dates in a second, but maybe that will light a spark to say, hey, maybe we should do a run of this thing on vinyl and CD at least.
Well, the funniest thing in the world is that 3 months before the anniversary of this record, Rhino put out a vinyl release of Beside Ourselves.
Covers EP.
So someone show me the guy who makes that decision. Who's that guy? Okay, here it comes. 30th anniversary of Skid Row. Again, top 10 in Atlantic Records history. I'm going to say that again. Top 10 in Atlantic Records history. I'm not fucking making it up. I got told that. AC/DC, Back in Black. Led Zeppelin 2, Foreigner 4, Skid Row, File. You know how many releases there's been of Led Zeppelin 2? Anyways, all I can think of is that somebody is waiting, I hope they're not holding their breath, but somebody's just assuming that one day we will get together, who knows if that's going to happen, but that's my only logic that I can think of putting out Beside Ourselves and not Skid Row #1. It's just complete insanity. But
I got to tell you, man, with the news of the press release about you doing this tour and celebrating the record, that's one of the first things that jumped into my mind is these record labels, maybe they'll look at this and be like, okay, this guy's actually going to get out and resurrect this record and play it start to finish for over 2 months in America. Maybe now we'll go and do a run of something and put it in the marketplace as a physical product. I hope they do. But I actually think by you doing this, it might, because they're now going to see some catalyst to sell it. Right. Maybe they'll do it. Maybe this will actually be the thing that does it.
Well, in all honesty, I would love to share that with the other members of the original band, but that would make sense to me, because I would like to have everybody's input on it. I mean, I'm just like you, Eddie. I'm a Rush fanatic, and you said it the other day on the radio. You go, nobody did it better than them. I don't think anybody did it worse than us. Because the reason, what I'm saying, I collect all those Rush re-releases. Farewell to Kings is a 6 LP package with a 5.1 surround mix by the guy in Porcupine Tree or whatever. It's just these guys give their fans everything they want. That is all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give the fan what the fans want. And, somehow I always manage to do that. I always manage somehow to have an exciting idea that people latch on to, and it's happening right now. So you ready for the next news, buddy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. On this tour, we are playing 2 nights in Hollywood, California at the legendary Whiskey A Go-Go. So if someone's buying a ticket for the first night, they're going to get the first Skid Row record in its entirety. On the second night, for 1 night only, Bobby Jarzombeck, Rob DeLuca, Brent Woods, and myself, on the second night in Hollywood at the Whiskey, will play the record Slave to the Grind in its entirety.
Wow. Whoa. So wait. So I thought you were going to say Subhuman Race, and I was about to buy a plane ticket.
Well,
why don't you add a third day? Add a third night and do Subhuman Race.
Only 2 nights, brother. So, control yourself, Eddie. Don't
October. Look, I'm looking at the date right now. October 11th and 12th is L.A. at the Whiskey. Then you then have another date until the 17th. You could easily do the 13th and do Subhuman.
Well, I'll call them, dude. I think we got enough gigs, but and I gotta give credit where credit's due. I didn't come up with this idea. Every band that I see, that I like, does this for their fans. Eddie, I'm a vinyl wino. You came to one of my chapter meetings, really into the records and all that. But having got so into the vinyl, it's led me into listening to bands like Steely Dan, like because their albums sound so incredible. And Donald Fagen, the lead singer of Steely Dan, he rolls into the Beacon Theater and he does one of his records 6 nights, each record. Like this record this night, this record this night. I go, what the heck? I go, that is. I go, as a fan, I would want to go to hear all of them. So I was just like, that is a whole new way to present the music to the fans. I cannot believe that I'm going to be singing "Can't Stand the Heartache."
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. That's what I want to ask you about the first record. So that's amazing, by the way, that you'll do "Slave" the second night, and that night, looking at your dates, will be October 12th at the Whiskey. But the bulk of the whole tour is really about the first record and the 30th anniversary. Right. So let me ask you this: obviously every time you play, you're playing 4 or 5 songs probably from that first record in your set anyway. But is there anything from the first Skid Row record that in your career you have never done live? Is "Can't Stand the Heartache" one? I
cannot remember playing "Can't Stand the Heartache" live in concert. Me and Rachel, everybody knows we have, it's like oil and water. Fucking does. I remember him writing that song. He was really proud of it, and I was in the garage singing. I go, "This is so poppy." It's real. I would say that's the poppiest Skid Row song, and he took offense that I said that and blah blah blah, and that was one of our first fights. But here we are, 30 years later. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Are you going to do the album, Baz? Are you going to do the album in sequence?
That's a very good question. I put a poll out on my Twitter asking the fans what would they like to hear. Would they like to hear it in sequence or on shuffle? And they all explained, like when The Who does this or Bruce Springsteen does this, they do it in order. And I guess that's the way it's done. I'm just trying. This is a new thing for me, so I'm trying to do it the way the fans want to hear it. And I'm leaning towards doing it in order, just to have, because just like I like listening to records, and there's a certain familiarity when the end of the song and what the next song is coming. It's kind of a cool feeling. So I think if you're going to do it, you might as well do it all the way.
I think so, too. I think that's the way to do it. I've seen bands do it both ways, but I think that if you're celebrating a record and all that it stood for, the cool thing would be to hear it played live the way you listen to it so many times. So start with Big Guns, end with Midnight, and do Can't Stand the Heartache and everything else in between. I actually never had a problem with that song. I like poppy stuff. I know the band, I know most of the guys, yourself included, but maybe not the biggest fan of that song, but I figured that would be the one. Every record, as great as it is, has that one that, most of, like Metallica, I know, hates Escape from Ride the Lightning. And when they did that start to finish, Lars was like, I got to play it. James has got to sing Escape or whatever. So everybody has the one, but if you're going to do the record, you got to do it. That's what makes it fun.
Got to do it. Yeah. Doing it for the fans. Clock Strikes Midnight, Making a Mess. Haven't done those in a long, long time. And it's exciting. It's fun. You know, it's just we're lucky to be doing this, man. Like, I mean, let's be totally honest. We're running out of rock stars. You know, like, I mean, not to laugh. I'm not trying. I laugh when I say something that, you know, I don't really want to think about, but that's
right.
kind of true. So we're all kind of, you know, we're getting older, and who knows what's going to go on down the line. You know, a lot of people my age are listening to your show right now. People talk about a singer's voice or a hairdo, like the guy's losing his hair. I don't have either of those problems. My problem is my eyesight is getting like bad. Like I'm not joking. Like, I can't see the set list when I put it on the monitor. I have to have a music stand that's halfway up, or I can't see it. And I don't want to come on stage in reading glasses. So we better fucking hurry up and do this tour.
Well, thankfully, you don't sing with your eyes. So as long as you sing the stuff, I'm sure people will be fine with whatever you got to do.